Good morning, everybody. Cynthia Lujan here, proudly with Landmark Title. I am sitting here with my friend Matt, who I will introduce in a moment. Things are going to look a little bit different today because we don't have our famous Sarah Touchstone. She is out of the country right now. So she asked if I would take over. And I, of course, said, absolutely, we are a team. However, with that, things are going to look a little bit different, but we're still really, really committed to every single Wednesday at 10 o'clock, delivering some really, really high value to you that will help you sell more homes and market yourself, because marketing matters for sure. I am sitting here with my friend. Scoot on over. I'm literally sitting here with him.
Literally sitting here together. Yes, we are.
I am sitting here with my friend Matt LeDoux with Forward Loans. And Matt and I have collaborated for years in how to add value to our sphere, to our network of people, and how do we elevate ourselves, especially in a market as we're in right now, to truly be a trusted resource for our clients. We had a great conversation last week about, we work with so many professionals who are such experts with their craft. However, how do we serve that up to our clients? And what resources do we use to serve up our high value of expertise with our clients? And so just after our conversation, I said, you know what, Matt, let's get you on Marketing Matters. And we will basically have a conversation just like we had last week about how to serve things up. Matt does have a presentation that he is going to share with us, but it's going to be a very conversational. So we will certainly entertain questions as we go, etc. So I am sitting here again with Matt LeDoux, and he is a brilliant loan officer and friend of mine. So I'm really, really lucky to be sitting with you.
Thanks, great. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Thank you.
So welcome to our fireside chat without the fire and no Sarah.
Yes, exactly. So do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, let's go ahead and pull it up. And like I said, it's going to be pretty informal. Well, where is it?
Okay, we're pulling it up. Hold on. So 1 minute. So
is it in your email?
No, it's on my, sorry, everybody. It's on my how do I just get to share? Okay, anyway.
Share screen. You already
share screen. Yeah. All right. So we're going to pull up files, right? Should have already done this, right? Where's Sarah? So basically,
hey, can everybody see that? Let's see. Where's your?
there's some.
See here. Where's our chat?
Right here. Okay, can we all see the file that Matt is sharing right now?
Just so you know, they can only see us.
Oh, you can only see us. Oh boy, here we go. So let's see.
Can we share this?
No, there we go. Share. How about now, folks? There we
Okay,
go.
got it. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So Cynthia and I were having a great conversation last week, and we were talking about this particular slide, which this is from Keeping Current Matters, which if those of you that don't subscribe, I think it's like $20 a month, $25 a month. You can get a great monthly report. And that is, most agents know what's happening. Good agents understand what's happening. Great agents can explain what is happening. And I think that's just very true, especially with, what's going on right now, especially in the media. I've always been a big fan of Mark Twain, and he has this quote: if you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you read the newspaper, you're misinformed. And I feel like that's very, very true right now. And not to go too deep into the conversation about, negativity bias, but the reality is, in general, people are drawn to negative news. I saw an interesting phrase where people talk about doom scrolling. People like doom scrolling. They like scrolling and seeing, negative information, which is really easy to do when it comes to real estate, the market, and the Lord knows, especially interest rates, with what we have been dealing with. So when you talk about, narratives is another buzzword we hear a lot of, especially in politics, of course. But when it comes to narratives in real estate, my industry, your industry, either we are filling that narrative for somebody or another source is filling that narrative, which unfortunately a lot of times is the media. You have all the crazy YouTubers out there talking about housing crashes, things like that. And we know, as students of this market, that that's not the case. We're not seeing any precipitous drops. The drops we saw in terms of real estate really occurred last year. We kind of plateaued at the end of December when we exited a quote unquote buyer's market. We headed back to a seller's market. And if you even look nationally now at real estate, and there's great slides in Keeping Current Matters, and you can find them on your own. Like Case Shiller, all these indexes that have come out, you can see nationally that real estate has really done nothing but increase since early on in the year. So our job is to obviously fill that narrative. Some of us, like myself included, not natural to be on social media, put out a lot of video content, but I think it's our job, and it's important that we need to make sure that we are correcting all this misinformation out there. And you and I are both accustomed to so many misnomers in our industry. So for me, it might be, hey, you need a perfect credit score to get a mortgage. You have to put 20% down. You can't have medical collections. You can't get a gift. There's so many things that people are not aware of. And you guys see that as well in your daily business, that there's just so much misinformation out there about real estate. So this is just one example. I mean, Goldman Sachs has changed their tune multiple occasions, and Goldman Sachs is probably one of the easiest people to make fun of, because it's almost like everything they say, they're always wrong. So they've already done an about face. This was just from January, talking about Phoenix being in that overheated market as a possible crash. And obviously, we're not seeing anything like that. So really, Cynthia and I were thinking about our own business, but we wanted to maybe just kind of get you all thinking about maybe tweaks that you might want to make individually to your business in terms of your messaging, your daily conversations, and maybe just a few things, ideas that can maybe prompt you how to maybe slightly improve your own real estate business.
I mean, it's so true, Matt, because you can go anywhere. I could go to the Starbucks right up the street, close my eyes and listen. Somebody in that room is going to be talking about the market.
Right.
So it's up to us to educate our clients and control that narrative. And so, but like you've already said, or they're going to go find their answers elsewhere. So let's show up as trusted resources for our folks. And we're going to talk about a couple of ways that we can do that.
Right. And we know, and we've joked about this before. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can be successful in this industry, that being mortgage or real estate, in terms of how you generate your business and how you sustain a business. And look, for some people, they could have just great social networks and generate a lot of business that way. Their Instagram could consist of just their vacation pictures and what they had for lunch, things like that. And, maybe that's enough. But for a lot of people, that's just not going to be enough of a value add to create a sustainable, long-term business where you can roll through all the different cycles. So for me, and I come from a family of educators, education was always the obvious thing because everybody wants to know what they're getting into. Everybody wants to know what's going on. So I've always believed that this business should be treated like a higher end professional. I think if you approach it from that perspective, I think this business can get easier. Like a doctor, they read their medical journals, a lawyer, the case decisions, law reviews, they're always keeping up with everything going on. And in real estate, we really do have access to a million different great tools where we don't have to reinvent the wheel. All the information is already out there for us, right? We have the Crawford Report, MLS, Housing Wire, like all kinds of great sites online. Twitter. I will tell you, just for Twitter, there's probably at least 20 people that I follow in terms of real estate, economists, people that are always giving us, really good updated information, whether it's about, inventory, appreciation, what are things that we see, happening over the next 90 days, 6 months, et cetera. And we can really show up for our clients by just doesn't take a lot of time, especially with all these great sites out there, that the information is already teed up for you, And I think if you approach your real estate business that way, and you really do become that resource, you're not seen as a salesperson. So I grew up in this business going to Todd Duncan events, which he's very similar to Brian Buffini. And one of the stories Todd likes to tell is his father was a radiologist, and he remembers visiting his dad at work. And when he went to visit his dad at work, he noticed that the actual there was an examiner that was taking all the pictures of the x-rays while his father was just sitting there with his charts. And he says, "Dad, I'm confused. Like, I thought you had you worked here, and why are you not the one taking all these pictures? Like, that looks like a really important job." And he says, "Son, I get paid to read the x-rays," right? I mean, he is the high level consultant that gets paid to read that information, which is really what you guys are hired to do, is to read the tea leaves, look at, current indicators, lagging indicators. And that's how you can create a sustainable business, because look at all the services that are out there and all the automation that's out there where people can pull up an address, and just by typing an address, they can get 6 different websites telling them what they think the value is, right?
Right.
And look, Redfin's great at what they do, Zillow's great at what they do, but none of them can replace you, right? None of them can replace you as a person that has been through different real estate cycles, really pays attention to subscription services like Crawford, or having access to MLS that the actual average person at the coffee shop, they don't know, right? And
Right.
they have no idea truly what they're talking about. And Todd has this great quote: "Prescription without diagnosis is malpractice," right? If we're not asking well architected questions, then it's very difficult to provide, a customized solution.
It's so true, because I'll hear out there, at that Starbucks I just referred to, I'll overhear people asking agents or myself, how's the market doing? So that is such a loaded question. And how do we answer that?
Right.
To your point, I like coming back with a question.
Right. Yeah, correct. And the big thing, and when I started getting into more realtor education 10 years ago, one of the things that really surprised me was how a lot of real estate agents really weren't prepared to answer that question.
Right. Right.
They would say, the market's great. It's a good time to buy. It's a great time to sell. The
Right.
obvious easy one right now is, interest rates are high, inventory is low. But how are you adding value to that conversation?
Right.
And here's the thing, the biggest misconception I see when we talk about realtor education is I'll hear real estate agents say, well, you know what? The people I'm talking to, they don't necessarily care a whole lot about statistics. And to that, I always say, trust me, they care. Either they may not necessarily care about the actual statistics themselves, but they want to know that they're working with somebody that's an expert. They
Right.
want to know that they're working with someone who is well-versed and is going to take care of them. And the story we always like to tell is 10 years ago, one of our realtors that we worked with was really getting involved by, reading the Crawford Report. And he found himself at a barbecue and he ended up being in a circle with 3 other real estate agents. And somebody asked that $1 million question, how is the market? And he started to answer it with a couple of statistics. Not the statistics necessarily matter to the person he was talking to, but he let them know that this is what I do for a living and this is how I treat it. And as he started to answer the question, first he said, of course, well, how's the market? Are you referring to buying or selling? Because those are obviously 2 very different answers. And what he found was, as he started to have this conversation, is the other real estate agents in the circle started to slowly back out and take their cocktails, somewhere else because they weren't prepared to answer that. And I get it that, it might feel a little like scripty, like you're like, God, does this feel normal? Does this feel weird? Am I uncomfortable? But I think you have to make it your own because this is important information. Because if you really want to be looked at as a consultant, you have to do that. And when you ask this question, hey, who do you, and I meant to say buy or sell, who do you know that needs expert advice and needs to buy or sell a home in the next 6 to 12 months? This is not, hey, because I need a commission. This is, hey, who needs an expert to help me guide them, their family through this process? Because I'm obviously the person that you want to speak with, right? And I think it starts with, can you answer this simple question? And I just literally grabbed this yesterday, just a couple interesting stats that I thought of. When I talk about scripting, yeah, you have to make it your own. Don't let it be uncomfortable or robotic. And the reality is the first time you say it, it probably will be, because I was always a very anti-scripting kind of guy.
Yes.
But once you throw some phrases in your vernacular and you make it just your own and you make it flow and it's normal, it really does become comfortable conversation.
And also with, going back to all the resources, places like Crawford has exactly what to say. And if we're being, if we're educating ourselves on a daily basis to go out there and speak to our clients. So this is what, if you're asking the question, how's the market? And you ask me, are you talking about sellers? Basically, this is what you found, right?
Right, exactly. So this was literally just a blurb I stole from Crawford. And I thought these were interesting stats. It says, hey, although Phoenix is having a typical summer slowdown, the marketing times have held steady for 2 months at a reasonable 21 days. And what's also interesting is that 41% of closings include seller assisted closing costs with a median cost of seller of $8,000. So I would encourage you, even if you're talking in line at the grocery store, you're talking to your neighbor and they could care less even maybe what you even have to say, is get comfortable saying that.
Right.
Find a couple statistics and just make it part of your daily conversation with your sellers. I do that all the time because I'll read a blurb about mortgage-backed securities or mortgage rates every morning. And then when I have someone asking me about the market, I'm letting them know.
You're fueled.
Yeah,
you're fueled with that information.
Today it's called the ISM Manufacturing Index. It came in hotter than they expected, which is positive for the economy, bad for rates. It may or may not be something that's looking to lock in an interest rate today, but just by taking those few minutes and just updating myself on that, I'm prepared for the day.
Right.
I'm prepared for those conversations. And the great thing is this is written for you every single month. And I always tell people if they do use Cromford, if I did one thing and one thing only, it would be to go right to there. So when somebody asks the question, how's the market? You have a good answer, because forget about all the Tableau charts and all the other great tools at your disposal, the listing presentation dashboard, great things that you can take on your presentations. None of that matters if you can't really answer that super important question, right? And then for buyers, we're talking about, hey, we flattened out a bit. However, the key here right now is between September and December, we expect annual appreciation to return to those 2018, 2019 pre-pandemic levels of about 5 to 8% on average, which is pretty darn good. And right now, there's a lot of good talking points right now, because rates are elevated and demand is suppressed a little bit. What happens when unemployment does go up? When we show that inflation is really not a problem anymore and rates do start to drop, we're going to see demand increase. And those people that did not get in the door now are going to be struggling next year, next summer. We don't know, obviously, because every analyst has been wrong when it comes to interest rates. But it may be uncomfortable at first, but I promise you, it gets a lot easier. And I can just remember myself early in my career, like talking to a luxury real estate agent. I would have been super intimidated, or a really high net worth individual. But just by saying these things again and again and again, and just kind of getting your scripting down, you just really become, I feel like, a lot more comfortable. And I will tell you, if I was a real estate agent, my secret weapon, my favorite thing to talk about is the Cromford Market Index. And if you're not digging into the Cromford Market Index on a daily basis or making it part of your presentations, I would highly encourage you to do so. Quite frankly, because there's a lot of things you can say to make you look really smart and cool. And really, I mean, seriously, and the thing is, it's always accurate. It's a current indicator of what's going on. So like right now, what you can look at and see is that the Cromford Market Index has dropped a little bit, right?
So what does that mean?
So right now, of course, we're headed back toward, we're still in by definition, a seller's market, at 155. However, as we go into maybe the low 150s, 140s, because we do have that significant lack of inventory, it'll continue to be tough to make it a buyer's market. However, I always hear this over the years, is how a lot of good real estate agents believe that they thrive in a balanced market because they're able to work both sides successfully. But just a couple of phrases really quick for you guys that I like is, look, it's a proprietary algorithm that we have access to. Less than 5% of Phoenix area real estate agents use it or even understand it. So you're letting them know without telling them straight up, the other 95% are pretty stupid. You should work with a smart 5%. That is me, right? I think it should be part of all presentations. And then also another two phrases that I like is talking about current indicators and lagging indicators, because people respond to that because they know that you're looking at all types of data, which everyone's going to be interested in, right? So I literally we were talking and I just kind of throw out some random ideas and ways that you can get out into the market, because, you can only have so many conversations in a day. You can only have so many coffee meetings or lunch appointments or things like that. So obviously Reels is the popular, the latest and greatest, but of course you can do shorts on YouTube now as well. There's a lot of ways to get a quick message out, or of course you can link up your Facebook and your Instagram on these short posts as well.
Well, and I love this because everybody's looking for content. That's the big buzzword. What content do I share? And so you've got so much content right at your fingertips. So what do you do with it? So I really appreciate you putting these real ideas together.
So just use it. These are less than 30 seconds, guys. And the key is, and I've been guilty of this, is you have to come up with a great hook. Like, hey, why would, here's a misnomer about real estate. Here's the big thing that the media got wrong. Or, did you know most realtors don't do this? And then you may talk about how you have access to proprietary information, or your Cromford report subscriber, explaining why you should get off the fence, which is a lot of ways we can get off the fence. Of course, we've all had you guys have heard the whole 2-1, 3-2-1 buy down things to your, blue in the face. I won't
yeah.
take you through that again. But there's a lot of reasons why it could be a great time to buy as rates are elevated. Recession, there's great content in Keeping Current Matters where it talks about the last several times we've had a recession. Real estate did great. Mortgage rates dropped, interest rate did well, with the exception really of course, the housing crash 2008. And then also understanding, because at the water cooler, they're talking about home prices dropping, and we have great content to show the contrary. Case-Shiller, FHA, CoreLogic, Zillow, all these services are showing you clearly that home prices are not taking off, but they're not dropping, right? They may be flat to slowly increasing. It could be current events, and this is maybe not exciting to everybody, but there is legislation talking about legalizing the casitas and duplexes and triplexes right now, because of our housing shortage and also affordability. So keeping current, everyone likes to talk about water, right? Like things you can talk about the water and the water report and things like that. New builds, there's so much bad information out there about, is it going to hurt me to take someone out to a new build? There's a lot to talk about with Phoenix in terms of our appreciation, how we were one of the best performing cities, the top 20 cities in the country, in terms of since 2020. Let's see. Also about creating opportunities in a market where there's a lot of lock-in, right? There's people that are not necessarily looking to sell and buy. So where are the opportunities right now? And a lot of them are around life events, right? So are you thinking about that when you're going out there and you're telling your story to people? People taking their kids to college, they have to live somewhere. So how about taking advantage of either just them purchasing an investment, or if the kid has even a credit score, can we do a cosign situation like FHA, conventional, where they don't have to put much in the way of a down payment down, and then of course find that 3-bedroom house, that 3-bedroom condo, and then collecting rent from a couple of other students. And now of course, even if you could break even or get it close, now you have that investment for the next 4 or 5 years, which is an ideal hold for real estate anyways, right? Another thing, of course, is out-of-state buyers, right? Are you coordinating with, HR directors? Look at all the tech, all the businesses that are coming into the Valley, continue to come into the Valley. How are you targeting out-of-state people? Is another big thing. And then other things, divorce attorneys. I mean, divorce means selling one, buying two a lot of times. So that's a lot of transactions. Are you networked in with those? And then also, sadly, you're talking about like probate attorneys, people passing away, kids inheriting homes. How are you working those pillars of business, those referral sources? And just coming up with some phrases in the current market, and just repeating them. And again, growing your confidence. This is one phrase that I really like.
Wow.
And this was from Steve Harney at Keeping Current Matters as well. And that is, deceleration of appreciation is not the same thing as home prices are depreciating. And
love that.
We had so much appreciation over a short period of time that just because home prices are not going up 20% a year, people are acting like the sky is falling, and we're getting this, homes crashing. Well, no, it's not the same thing. We can have moderate appreciation, and that's still ideally where we want to be. So if we can get back to like a 5 to 8% appreciation and comparing that to rent, real estate is still far and away one of the best investments that we can make, right?
Right. But we have to educate ourselves to be able to say those things.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's really a lot of what I wanted to say. I think one last thing, I had a quote here that I really like from Seth Godin, and that is, people don't believe what you tell them. They rarely believe what you show them. They often believe what their friends tell them. They always believe what they tell themselves. And our job in our industry is to educate, and then let them make the decision based upon all the information that you gave them, and let them determine, is it a good time to buy or is it a good time to sell? And really just having, the heart of a teacher and not being a salesperson.
Right. Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much. I so appreciate our collaboration, and just, we would encourage you to find your who person. Who are you collaborating with and educating yourself with? And, you know, who's your accountability buddy? Matt certainly has been one of mine for many years. Matt, if they wanted to get a hold of you, what's your phone number?
My phone number is, I think I actually have my information up here.
Oh,
Let
yay,
me
get
check
it.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
There we go.
there's me.
There we go.
So really simple. Matt@Ford.loans is my email. So I've been in the Valley for 20 years. And if you have any questions or things you want to talk about, please reach out. Love to connect with you.
And if any of you are interested in Matt's slides, if you didn't take a picture of all the real ideas, etc., please reach out to your Landmark Business Development Manager and they will share those slides with you. Also, just thank you so much for continuing to be with us every Wednesday at 10 o'clock for Marketing Matters. And we talked a lot about Cromford, a lot about various places that you can go to educate yourself. Always remember, lean on your Landmark Business Development Manager. Call them. They have access to Altos reports. So you could sit with them and they can go over a lot of things that could help you fuel yourself on a daily basis. I really love what you said. Every morning, fuel yourself with today's news.
Yes.
Control that narrative. So thank you all so much for being with us. And I am going to check the chat to see if we have any questions. And let's see. All I'm reading is great information. This was awesome. We appreciate you and see you next week. And also wanted to remind you, check out our website for future activities. So Landmark's website, ltaz.com, and we always have all kinds of activities and events going, and just reach out to your business development manager. Have a great Wednesday, everyone.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Matt.